Hello and welcome to Game 3 between the visiting team locker room and the home team park home. Now for locker room starting lineup. Batting first, playing center field, Lawson Kozowski. Batting second, playing shortstop, Connor Steer. Batting third, the first baseman, Cooper Miller. Batting fourth, the pitcher, Ty Rischel. Batting fifth, playing second base, Declan Lutz. Batting sixth, playing third base, Braden Augustine. Batting seventh, the catcher, Mason Steer. Batting eighth, playing left field, Tobias Smith. Batting ninth, playing right field, Carter Wilmot. With reserves, Chase Piotti, Nate Bugley, Keelan Lyon, and Henry Drum. Now for the home team starting lineup. Batting first, the pitcher, James Davis. Batting second, the catcher, Mateo Williams. Batting third, playing shortstop, Lucas Montatelli. Batting fourth, the third baseman, Jack Rowland. Batting fifth, playing first base, Trady Armit. Batting sixth, playing second base, Dylan Hescott. Batting seventh, playing center field, Casey Gamber. Batting eighth, the right fielder, Michael Montatelli. Batting ninth, playing left field, Cole Harvey. With reserves, Jack Davis, Chase Buchanan, Cameron Carter, Nate Klingerman, Lamont Williams, and Joey Niedemeyer. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps to the playing of our national anthem.
We've got baseball in the form of Game 3 of the AABA Semifinals between Locker Room and Park Home, the winner advancing to the championship to play Holsinger's Plumbing. Pleasure to have you with us here on Facebook or YouTube, depending on what platform you're watching on. I'm Jake Irwin, providing the play-by-play commentary for you this evening. And starting pitcher out there for Park Home is James Davis. Saw him in Game 1 of this series, where Park Home won by a 7-4 score. Through 4 innings in that game. Through those 4 innings of work for James Davis last time out, Gave up 6 hits and 4 runs. Usually has pretty high strikeout numbers. And in that outing, he was able to punch out 4. It's 5 punch-outs actually for James Davis in game 1 of this series. So we'll see what his strikeout stuff looks like today. As the first batter he faces to get things kicked off is Lawson Pizalski. Pizalski with 5 hits and 6 at-bats in this series. Really impressive stuff by him. First pitch at 7:46 p.m. Next offering, and it's also up and away 2-0 on the locker room center fielder. Deep breath by James Davis, and that time it hits the outer portion of the zone, 2-1 on Pizalski. Back-to-back multi-hit games for him, with 3 singles in game 1, one of those being an RBI single, and then a pair of singles last night in that 11-1 win versus Locker Room to force this game 3. Real high pitch for ball 4. So that puts a runner on first base. Good to get things started off for Locker Room. And up comes Connor Steer, the shortstop. Connor Steer also has a hit in each game of this series. Last night, a single and an RBI double for Locker Room's shortstop. That one right above his head. Gets away from Mateo Williams, and a 1-0 count on Connor Steer. Lawson Pizalski cruising into scoring position at second base. One 0 on its way to Connor Steer, and ropes one to third. Pizalski able to resort back to second base before the double play, but that was one of the hardest hit balls we've seen throughout this entire postseason. Would love to know the exit velocity on that one, but Jack Rowland was ready for it over there at third, and that's how we get out number 1. And up comes the first baseman, Cooper Miller. Right past second base it goes, out into center field. Pizalski's looking to score. Here's the throw home, and it's wide. And into second base with an RBI double is Cooper Miller. 1-0 Locker Room here early on.
Number 10, Ty Rischel.
Cooper Miller with an RBI double last night. Give him another one here tonight. Now Ty Rischel likes the first one he sees, and it bounces off the glove of Hescox out into center field. But applying the brakes at third is Cooper Miller on that single by Ty Rischel.
Now batting second baseman, number 22, Declan Lutz.
Rischel with his second hit of the semifinals, and up comes the number 5 hitter, Declan Lutz. Runners on the corners with 1 out. And a 1-0 lead here for Locker Room. First one he sees, hits the zone, throw to James Davis on the mound, and they just allow Rischel to take second base. Next one down and away towards the turf. Good job there by Mateo Williams behind the plate, corralling that one. 1 ball, 1 strike on Declan Lutz. A 3-hit performance for Lutz last night with 3 RBIs. He's really seen the ball well. 2-1 count on Lutz, who also has a total of 4 hits in this series. 2-1. Down and away, 3-1. Locker Room really getting to James Davis here early on in this one. His locker room is fighting for a chance to win their first championship in program history. Flying out to center field. Potential sac fly coming in to score, and scoring is Cooper Miller. 2-0 locker room as Rischel advances to third on the Declan Lutz sacrifice fly.
Providing third baseman number 3, Brandon Augustine.
So an RBI double by Cooper Miller and a sac fly by Declan Lutz. Runner at third with 2 outs, and the number 6 hitter, Brandon Augustine, up to the dish. Takes ball 1. Augustine steps in with that 1-0 count. And here's the pitch. Just a little bit too far inside, 2-0. Slight breeze still from right to left field. The 2-0. And one also inside, 3-0 on locker room's third baseman. Augustine had 3 RBIs last night in that 11-1 win, a 2 RBI double, and an RBI triple. Trying to build off of that right here. 3-0. Too far inside. Ball 4. Augustine will take first. Runners on the corners with 2 away. Here at the top of the first and a 2-0 lead for locker room. And up comes the catcher, Mason Steer. The windup, and James Davis's release popped up down the third base line. Under it is Rowland, makes the catch, putting it into the top of the first. But an RBI double by Cooper Miller and a sacrifice fly by Declan Lutz puts locker room up early, 2-0, for the chance to go to the championship game against Holsinger's Plumbing. Back with more here in just a moment on the AABA Sports Network. Ty Rischel, the starting pitcher out there tonight for locker room. And since Rischel threw 4 innings in last night's game, he has 2 more that he can throw, and then locker room has to replace him on the mound. It's part of needing that day of rest in between outings. If you've thrown more than 6 innings. Ball 1 here to James Davis, Parkcomb's pitcher. 2 runs on the board for locker room after an RBI double by Cooper Miller and a sac fly by Declan Lutz. Swinging through that one is James Davis. 1-1 even count. One on its way. Off speed in at the knees, 1-2. Prior to this game, it was game 3 of the other semifinal matchup in which Holsingers won by a 7-1 score against Ellis Fury. Popped up in foul territory on the first baseline, and Cooper Miller makes the catch for the putout of James Davis, one away.
That brings up the catcher number 5, Mateo Williams.
And stepping up is Mateo Williams. Had a single in last night's game. 2 hits throughout this series. And 1 RBI. High pitch taken for ball 1 by Parkhome's number 2 hitter. Rischel's ready, and curveball thrown, popped up behind home plate, and diving for it, and making the catch is Mason Steer. Oh, what a grab right along the fence. Best play we've seen by a catcher throughout this entire postseason. And that's out number 2. Incredible stop there by Mason Steer. Brings up Lucas Musatelli here with 2 outs. Curveball, grounder sent over to the third baseman. Snow cones it, throws across the diamond, and a nice play by Augustine. 3 up, 3 down here for Parkhome. Here in a quick bottom of the first inning. 2-0 our score in favor of Locker Room. They bring out the bats on the other side of this break.
Leading off the top of the second inning is the left fielder number 12, Tobias Smith.
Stepping up is Tobias Smith to get us started here in the top of the second frame. 2-0 lead for Locker Room. First pitch to Smith is inside, ball 1. In case you missed it, back in the first inning, it was an RBI double by Cooper Miller and a sacrifice fly by Declan Lutz to get that early 2-0 lead for Locker Room. The 1-0 from Davis, and it carves its way into the zone, 1-1 count. 4 batters reached base in that first inning. A walk by Pazowski, that RBI double by Miller, single by Rischel, and then a walk by Augustine. 8, 9, and 1 hitters due up here for Locker Room. Outside on that pitch. 2-1. Carter Wilmot, the right fielder, on deck here for this 21-7 Locker Room team. 4-1 in their last 5 games and 7-3 in their last 10 outings. Swinging through that one is Tobias Smith, 2-2 even count. From the chest, kicks and deals. Swing and a miss here by Tobias Smith for James Davis's first strikeout on the mound in this one. One away here in the top of the second inning. And here's Carter Wilmot. Righty versus lefty battle. And taking a hack at that pitch up and away, 0-1. Wilmot searching for his first hit of this series. Takes that pitch inside. 1-1 even count. Here's a windup. And the pitch to Wilmot. Just misses that one. 1-2. Comes the pitch, and swinging that one away for strike three. Back-to-back Ks recorded by James Davis for two quick outs here on Locker Room here at the top of the second. And we flip the lineup card and go to the top of the order with Lawson Pizowski, who walked his last time up and would come around to score in that RBI double by Cooper Miller. First pitch, strike one. Out of the 7 times Pizowski's been up to the plate in the semifinal round, only once did he not reach base. 0-2 count. We'll see what he does on this at-bat. Seems like James Davis has been getting more comfortable up there on the mound after that rocky start. And when James Davis gets going, he can really punch him out, so it's a good challenge here for Lawson Pizowski. Comes the 0-2 and hits this one foul, staying alive at the plate. 2 outs, nobody on base here in the top of the second, 2-0 here for Locker Room. Here in Game 3 of this semifinal series, winner goes on to take Holsinger's Plumbing. For Parcombe, they've won the championship before. Their last one was in 2021, the one before that, 2017. Hit out into shallow left field, misses the line by inches. So Pizowski will take back-to-back foul balls with that 0-2 count. Two outs, nobody on base. 0-2 coming to Pizowski. Curves in the zone for strike three as James Davis strikes out the side. Bottom of the second inning we go with a 2-0 Locker Room lead. As Parcombe trying to respond to those 2 runs put up on the board for a chance to meet with Holsinger's Plumbing in the title match.
Getting off the bottom of the second inning is the third baseman, number 13, Jack Rowland.
Ty Rischel out there pitching for Locker Room for his second and final inning. Faces Jack Rowland to get us started here in the bottom of the second. Curveball. That's a touch inside. 1-0 count. Rowland had an RBI single in last night's game. Plated that 1 run for Parcombe in that 11-1 game. Slams this one out in the left field. Diving, making the catch is the left fielder, Tobias Smith. Way to flash the leather, Tobias, and get out number 1 here on Parcombe.
That brings up the first baseman, number 99, Trey Armit.
Now stepping up is the first baseman, Trey Armit, for his first at-bat. Thought about swinging at that first one. Wisely takes that pitch for ball 1. Armit had a sac fly in game 1 of the semifinals, as well as a walk. It was a 1-0. Hit out to the shortstop, who catches it. Routine play there by Connor Steer. And 2 quick outs here at Parcombe. And stepping up is Dylan Hescox. Got a good night last night, going 2 for 2 with a pair of singles. Also had a single back in game 1. Strike 1 on Hescox. That first game, 7-4 final in favor of Parcombe. Next delivery, and a slow grounder sent over to the first baseman. He takes it himself and touches the bag to win the foot race there against Hescox. 3 up, 3 down. Here for Parcombe, just like locker room in the top of second. So a quick second inning overall. We go to the third, 2-0 locker room here in this winner-take-all game and go to the championship.
Top of the third inning for shortstop number 23, Connor Steer.
So shortstop Connor Steer that gets us started off for this third inning. Lined out to the third baseman last time. Take strike 1 here from the new pitcher in the ball game, Jack Rowland. We saw Jack pitch 2 innings in last night's contest. And Rowland, known for that high velocity, 1-1 even count here on Steer. Struck out the first 3 batters that he faced when coming in for relief of Lucas Musatelli. 1-1, hit hard out in the left field into the seats. 1-2 count on the foul ball by Connor Steer. Next one just misses. Good eye there by Connor Steer. Reached base all 3 times last night. The 2-2 from Roland. Well outside, 3-2. Lucas Musatelli now at third base and James Davis at short. It's part of the changes in the Park-Home infield. Connor Steer discards his bat with the walk.
Walker's at the pitcher number 11, Cooper Miller.
As he's now reached base in every game of this semifinal round. And up comes Cooper Miller, who had an RBI double in his first at-bat. A sac fly by Declan Lutz was the reason for the other run on the board for Locker Room. Takes the first pitch strike. Steer at first with nobody out. I stopped there by Mateo Williams behind the plate on that wide pitch by Roland. 1-1 even count. The leg kick and the 1-1 pitch. Bouncer over to third, and Musatelli can't get there in time to stop it from going to left. Here's a throw to third base, and safely is Connor Steer, and cruising into second base is Cooper Miller. Cooper Miller advancing to second on the throw, so he'll be credited with a single multi-hit game for Cooper. So runners on second and third here with nobody out. Locker Room continuing to have hot bats. Now Ty Rischel. First pitch ball. After Locker Room went 3 up, 3 down last inning, all with punch-outs, coming out with a vengeance this time. The 1-0. And therefore strike. 1-1 even count. Here on Locker Room's cleanup batter, who had a single last time. The 1-1. Just outside, 2-1. Rischel reached base twice last night, both on errors. Sent over to second base. Slow roller. Throw to first is in time, and with an RBI ground out is Ty Rischel. We have a 3-0 lead for Locker Room. And on that hit, Cooper Miller advancing to third.
Number 22, Declan Lutz.
Here with 1 out, and up comes the number 5 hitter, Declan Lutz. With that sac fly last time, Hind inside 1-0 on Locker Room's second baseman. Roland here in his first inning of relief pitching for James Davis. Down and outside, it's a wild pitch, and that allows Cooper Miller to score. 4-0 for Locker Room. This Locker Room team, 21-7 record on the season. The 2-0 outside, 3-0 to Lutz. With 1 out and nobody on base. Here's Roland's pitch. That one cruises into the zone, 3-1. Park-Home, a 20-6 record, 3-2 in their last 5 games, and 7-3 in their last 10 outings. 3-1 pitch, and it's roped out to right field, and it takes off Hescox's glove, throws it to first, not in time. It's an interesting play. And for Declan Lutz, as the third time in this series that he's recorded a hit. So a hit in every game here the semifinal round for Locker Room's second baseman. Pitch inside here in Augustine, 1-0. And Hescox had it there for a second, but then the force of that ball just took his glove right off of his hand. And as a result, of course, the ball fell to the ground and By the time Hescox was able to make a throw, Lutz was already at first base. 2-0 here on Augustine after his walk last time up. Lifts this one out to center field. Running back for it is Gamber. It's over his head. Coming around second base is Lutz. He's getting the stop sign from his third base coach on that big double there by Braden Augustine. Second time he's reached base in tonight's contest.
The double brings up the catcher, number 25, Mason Steer.
That is the third hit for Locker Room here in this third inning. 4 out of the last 5 batters have reached. And up comes Mason Steer. Runners at second and third with 1 out. Pitch outside for a 1-0 count. RBI ground out by Ty Rischel, and Cooper Miller scoring on a wild pitch as part of the 2 runs that Locker Room has scored so far here in this third inning. Off the backhand is the shortstop Davis, throws it across, and Yarmouth can't handle it over at first. Both runs will score. Throw here to second, and out by a mile is Mason Steer, but he was still able to get in 2 runs for Locker Room and make this a 6-0 ball game.
That brings up the left fielder, number 12, Tobias Smith.
So now stepping up is Tobias Smith, who struck out last time. Locker Room coming off of that momentum from last night, where they mercy rolled Park Home by that 11-1 score, 1-0 count. Here to start off Tobias Smith. Next one, high and inside, 2-0. And the 2-0 hits the zone, 2-1. That outside pitch there, and Williams had to lunge out for 3-1. Williams trying to fix the strap there on his left leg, and he does so. 3 balls and a strike on Tobias Smith. The pitch hits the inside of the zone, full count. Smith had an RBI in last night's game off of a bunt. Ball 4. He'll take first. And that bunt by Tobias Smith ended up plating that winning run for Locker Room to allow Braden Augustine to score. So runner on first with 2 outs. Strike 1 here to Wyant. Pinch hitting for Carter Wilmot. Next one above the head of Keelan Wyant. 1-1 count taken off, and taking second base successfully is Tobias Smith. It's one outside. 2-1. Saw Keelan Wyant as a pinch hitter in last night's game for Carter Wilmot in the third inning. The heater shown there by Roland, clipping the bottom of the zone, 2-2 even count. Tobias Smith at second base, and the 2-2. Bounces into the turf, and we've got another full count. And the 3-2. Swung through and missed for strike 3. Jack Rowland records his first strikeout of the night. And that puts an end to the top of the third inning, but locker room tacks on 4 more runs. After an RBI ground out by Ty Rischel, Cooper Miller scoring on a wild pitch. And then Declan Lutz and Braden Augustine scoring on an error. To the bottom of the third we go to see if Park Home forms any resistance with the bats.
Leading off the bottom of the third inning is the center fielder, number 10, Casey Gamber.
So new pitcher into the game for locker room after 2 innings by Rischel. Cooper Miller faces the bat of Kason Gamber, who fouls us back for strike number 1 here in the bottom of the third. Ty Rischel over at first base now. Comes the 0-1. Grounder sent over to the third baseman from his knees, throws it across. Nice play by Braden Augustine, lunging after that dribbler, and then from his knees, throwing it across the diamond to complete the ground out of Kason Gamber, 1 away. And now the number 8 hitter, Michael Musatelli. First pitch he sees here from Miller. And it's some heat inside, 1-0. Next one, down the middle of the plate, 1-1 count. Last time we saw Cooper Miller pitching in this series, it was game 1 where he threw 4 innings, strike 2. A 1-2, lifted out to right for a foul. And in that first game of the series in which Miller pitched, gave up 7 runs, 5 hits, 4 walks. Swinging through that one for strike 3 is Michael Musatelli. Miller gets his first strikeout of the evening, and that's 2 away.
Left fielder, number 14, Cole Garvey.
And up comes Colt Garvey for his first at-bat. Gets down low to avoid being hit by that one, 1-0. That one hitting the zone. Good pitch there by Miller. 1-1 even count with 2 outs. And the pitch, swinging through that fastball, is Colt Garvey, who reached on a walk last night. Miller with his long windup in the 1-2. Fastball down the middle, going right at Garvey. Fouls this one off, though, to his third base coach. Parcombe has gone 1-2-3 in every inning up to this point. Miller trying to make that the third time. 2-2 even count. as Parcombe is still looking for their first base runner. High pitch, 3-2. Colt Garvey forming some good resistance here with a pretty nice at-bat. Here comes the 7th pitch of this at-bat. And the payoff. Hits this one out to left field. Smith is under it, and he falls backwards. This ball trickles to the wall, heading into second base. Rounding second is Garvey. He's going to third, and he's in there sliding safely. What a time for Colt Garvey to get his first hit of the semifinals. A big triple there with 2 outs. Some 2-out lightning, as we like to call it. And that's significant because that brings us back to the top of the order with James Davis. The pitch. Strike 1. On the high velocity by Miller. And time called by the third base coach. And we're going to have a pinch runner for Colt Garvey. Pinch runner is Jack Davis. Yeah, 1 to James Davis. Misses 1-1. One ball, 1 strike on James Davis with 2 outs, runner on third. After that triple by Colt Garvey. The pitch. Hits the zone, 1-2. Davis popped out to the first baseman last time we saw him. The windup, and Miller's 1-2. Grounder sent over to the shortstop. Isn't able to field it right past the glove of Connor Steer. Sliding in safely is Jack Davis. The Davis-Davis connection on that RBI single by James puts the first run on the board here for Parcombe.
Number 5, Mateo Williams.
And stepping up is Mateo Williams, who popped out behind home plate to the catcher last time in what was a beautiful play by Mason Steer right along the fence. Prevent that from being just a foul. High 1 sent up to the left of John Kraft Field for strike number 1. Here's the 0-1 to Mateo Williams, and swings a little early on that one. 0-2. Runner on first base with 2 outs. After James Davis's RBI single to score. The pinch runner, Jack Davis, who's pinch running for Colt Garvey after his triple. The 0-2. Swinging through that one again is Mateo Williams for strike number 3. As Cooper Miller gets his second strikeout on the mound. But Parcombe finally scratching a run across on the board on an RBI single by James Davis. We go to the 4th frame with Locker Room leading at 6-1 here in this semifinal matchup, with the winner going to the championship.
Thanks, buddy.
It's Lawson Pizowski that starts us off here at the top of the fourth. 6-1 locker room lead after they got 4 runs in the last inning. An RBI ground out by Ty Rischel to score Connor Steer. Cooper Miller scoring on a wild pitch, and then Declan Lutz and Braden Augustine scoring on an error on a ball put in play by Mason Steer. 0-1 count here on Pizowski in his third at-bat. Make that 1-1. Has a walk and strikeout on the evening. One count on the leadoff batter in locker room's lineup. Takes a pitch downstairs, 2-1. Here in Jack Rowland's second inning of relief work after 2 innings by the starter, James Davis. 2-1, well outside, 3-1. James Davis with a walk and a fielder's choice last night. Righty versus lefty battle. And the pitch. And a full count here on the first batter of this inning. Pitch by Rowland, and it's well off the mark. Pizowski's on board for the second time this evening with his second walk.
Number 23, Connor Steer.
Now the shortstop, Connor Steer. A line out and a walk for him. Would come around to score after his walk on that RBI ground out by Ty Rischel. Just getting a piece of that one for strike number 1. And the 0-1 on its way by Rowland, swinging a little early and just getting a piece of that one. Actually fouled it off of Mateo Williams behind the plate. And so he's down here for the time being. They're saying it was off of his thigh. So he'll take a breather. Pizowski at first base after his walk. Nobody out and no 2 count on Connor Steer. Here at the top of the fourth inning, a 6-1 lead for locker room. In game 3 of this 3-game series, with a bid to the championship on the line. Now we're set to resume play. The 0-2. Slammed out to left field. It lands before the left fielder can get there. Bounces off of him, allowing Pizowski time to get to third. Throw to third base by Garvey is offline. And into second base is Connor Steer. 2 runners in scoring position for locker room with nobody out. Now Cooper Miller, who already has 2 hits in this ball game with an RBI double back in the first and a single in the third. First pitch, right up the middle it goes. Out into center field. In the score is Pizowski. And applying the brakes around third base is Connor Steer. He's chased back by Mateo Williams. An RBI single by Cooper Miller, his third hit of the ball game, advancing to second on the throw.
First baseman, number 10, Ty Rischel.
And so we've got a 7-1 ball game. And up comes Ty Rischel. Steer at third and Miller at second. Outside pitch, 1-0 to start off number 4 batter in this locker room lineup. Single and RBI ground out for locker room's first baseman. Rowland set on the rubber and his pitch inside, 2-0. What a night for Cooper Miller. 3 hits and 2 RBIs. Two 0 on its way, and it's down low, 3-0. And the next one, it's the zone, 3-1. Grounder sent over to the shortstop. He throws it home, and Mateo Williams can't handle the bounce on the throw by James Davis from short. So another run scores on an RBI single by Ty Rischel. 8-1 locker room lead.
Now batting second baseman number 22, Declan Lutz.
Cooper Miller advancing to third base, so runners on the corners, still with nobody out, and up comes the number 5 hitter, Declan Lutz. A sac fly and single for Lutz. Strike one. 3 consecutive singles here by locker room. All 4 batters so far up to this point have reached. Pitch just off the plate, 1-1. And Rischel will take second base without a throw. So that has runners at third and second with still nobody out. 1-1 count on Lutz. It's the next one from Roland, and it's outside, 2-1. Second inning of work here for Roland, and he's already up to 52 pitches. Hit out to shallow center field. It's in for a hit. Coming in to score is Cooper Miller. And stopping at third base is Ty Rischel. 4th straight hit for locker room. 3 consecutive RBI singles. And Lutz advancing to second on the throw. So runners at second and third, but still nobody out. And a 9-1 lead for locker room. They're just pouring it on. Braden Augustine, who has a walk and a double, takes ball 1 down low. Locker room, 2 runs away from putting the mercy rule into effect. And it's Declan Lutz that represents that run that would put the mercy rule into effect. 1-1 even count after that foul ball by Augustine. So if that were to happen, if locker room were to go up 11-1, Parcombe would need at least 1 run in the bottom of the 4th to get rid of the mercy rule. If they were to not score any runs in the bottom of the 4th, with it being 11-1, then the game would be over. There's a 1-1, just outside, 2-1. All 5 of the last batters have reached. 4 singles and a walk. Number 6 hitter Augustine looking for his second hit of the ball game. I'll take strike 2, 2-2 even count on locker room's third baseman. Rischel at third, Lutz at second. 2-2 outside. Nice athletic play there by Mateo Williams behind home plate to prevent a wild pitch and potentially allowing Rischel to run that 60 feet for another run. 3 runs here in this 4th inning so far for locker room. Inside, ball 4. And the bases are loaded. Second walk issued by Roland here in this inning. And we'll have a mound visit for Roland. We'll see if they yank him or not. And it looks like Roland will be handing over the baseball to his coach. New pitcher into the game for Parcombe. Bases loaded and still nobody out for locker room. Looking to put the mercy rule into effect for Game 3 of this semifinal series. New pitcher into the game from Parco is Mateo Williams. James Davis takes over for him at catcher. Jack Rowland goes over to third, and Lucas Musatelli back at short. High pitch here against Mason Steer for ball number 1. Bases loaded, nobody out. Already 3 runs put across here in this 4th inning for locker room. There's the 1-0. Up and away, 2-0. First we've seen of Mateo Williams on the mound here in this series. Two-0 coming to Mason Steer inside 3-0. Nowhere to put him here. Walking him would bring in another run. And the 3-0, 4 straight balls. So in comes Ty Rischel from third. Lutz goes to third base. Augustine is second. And now Mason Steer on first. With that RBI walk. Now mound visit here for Mateo Williams after facing his first batter of the game. All 7 of the batters in this 4th inning, up to this point for locker room, have reached base.
Number 12, Tobias Smith.
3 walks and 4 hits here in this 4th inning. And Tobias Smith takes strike number 1. He has a strikeout and walk on the evening. Williams with the windup and his 0-1 pitch. bunts it backwards for a foul, 0-2 count on Locker Room's left fielder. Stadium lights here at John Kraft Field beginning to have some lighting effect on the field, with the sun continuing to set further. Good waist pitch there, just outside the top corner there by Williams. 1-2 count here on Tobias Smith. Swinging through that one, he fouls it into the glove of James Davis for the strikeout. And that is how Locker Room gets their first out.
That brings up the right fielder, number 1.
After 7 consecutive batters reaching. 1 out with bases loaded, and up comes Carter Wilmot. Coming back into the game after Keelan Wyatt pinch hit for him in the 3rd inning. 1-0 count. To start off, Locker Room's number 9 hitter. Wilmot struck out last time. 1-0, and it plunks him right on the leg. An RBI hit by pitch for Carter Wilmot. It's a painful way to get an RBI, but that puts Locker Room up 11-1, and the mercy rule is in effect. So Declan Lutz scores on that hit by pitch. Augustine to 3rd, Mason Steer to 2nd, and a pinch runner at first base for Carter Wilmot.
Now batting center fielder, number 7, Lawson Pazowski.
As that pinch runner is Nate Buckley. So now back to the top of the order we go with Lawson Pazowski. Has reached base twice with a walk and takes strike number 1. Bases loaded, 1 out. Here at the top of the 4th, 11-1, Locker Room lead. Next offering, well high and outside. 1-1 even count on Locker Room's center fielder. The 1-1 on its way by Williams. Inside towards the feet of Pazowski, 2-1. We saw Pazowski batting earlier in this inning, so Locker Room has officially batted around the order, 3-1. Nowhere to put Pazowski. 3-1 on its way by Mateo Williams. His windup and his pitch is high, ball 4, and that walks in another run. So Augustine will score. Mason Steer goes to 3rd. Buckley to 2nd. And now Pazowski at 1st, and another mound visit. And Mateo Williams' day on the mound will be done, as he'll take over at short. So new pitcher into the game for Parcombe. It'll be their 3rd different pitcher here in this inning. Back with more Game 3 of the semifinals after this quick break. New pitcher into the game for Parcombe is Lucas Musatelli, moving over from short, and Mateo Williams taking over for him at short. Bases loaded, 1 out. As Locker Room has padded on 6 more runs here in this inning for this 12-1 ball game. High and inside here on Connor Steer, 1-0. Lucas Musatelli with the windup and his 1-0 pitch. This one hit out to left center field. It's in the gap, rolling to the wall. 1 run's in to score. Here comes run number 2. RBI double by Connor Steer. 2 RBIs to make this a 14-1 Locker Room lead.
That brings up the pitcher number 11, Cooper Miller.
So Pazowski now at third base after that 2 RBI double by Connor Steer, with Mason Steer and Nate Buckley scoring on that hit. Still 1 out, 14-1 our score, fouled back here by Cooper Miller, who has 3 hits in this ball game, an RBI double, a single, and then an RBI single his last time up. The 0-1, high pitch, 1-1, bounces off the glove of James Davis, catching behind the plate. This is the 12th batter up in this inning here for Locker Room. And the 1-1 pitch, up high, 2-1. Runners at second and third with 1 out. Locker Room has scored 8 runs here in this top of the 4th. 2-1, inside, 3-1. Bouncing off the glove of Davis, but able to keep the ball around him to prevent those runners from advancing. Lucas Musatelli with the windup and his 3-1. Outside, ball 4, and we're back to the bases being loaded. Pazowski at third. Connor Steer at second, and Miller at first. Up comes the cleanup batter, Ty Rischel. There's a single, RBI ground out, and RBI single so far. First one, fouls it back. $11 out of the last 12 batters have reached here for Locker Room. Here comes the 0-1. High and inside. 1-1. Time called here, and now we resume play. 1 ball and 1 strike on Rischel. Bases loaded, 1 out. Lifts this one behind home plate, 1-2 after the foul. Locker Room just keeps adding on insurance runs, looking for a meeting in the championship with Holsinger's Plumbing. 1-2. Behind inside, 2-2. This one fouled back. And we'll do another 2-2 count. Lucas Musatelli facing his 4th batter here in this top of the 4th inning. Popped up in to the infield. Second baseman Hescox makes the catch on the infield fly. And so that's now out number 2 here on Locker Room with the bases loaded. And up comes Declan Lutz, swinging away at that one, strike one.
Second baseman number 22, Declan Lutz.
Lutz with a sac fly, a single, then an RBI single after that. Comes the 0-1, down low outside into the turf. Nice stop there by James Davis behind the plate. One on its way. And above the head of the number 5 hitter, Declan Lutz, 2-1. Nice sunset here. You can see on your screen in left field. Some pink mixing with the blue up there in the sky. Inside, goes past Davis to the backstop, 3-1. After a 7-4 win by Park Home in Game 1 of this series, Locker Room has just really figured things out. An 11-1 win last night. Now they're up 14-1. That's ball 4. That'll walk in another run. So Pajowski comes in to score. Connor Steer goes to third. Cooper Miller to second. And now Declan Lutz at first. And now Braden Augustine. Last time up, he walked. Swinging away at that first one for strike number 1. This is the 15th batter of this top of the 4th inning for Locker Room. The 0-1. Down low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Next one here to Augustine. Scoots out of the way of that one. 2-1. Saw Lucas Musatelli pitch last night where he threw 3 innings. Also pitched in Game 1. Threw 2 innings in that game. 2-1. Hit out to right field. And it's going to be caught by the right fielder, Michael Musatelli, to put an end to this very long inning. So Locker Room puts on 9 more runs here in this 4th inning. Bring them out to a 15-1 lead. So Park Home has some work to do, as Park Home needs 5 more runs in order to put that mercy rule out of effect. More of the AABA semifinals coming up after the break here on the AABA Sports Network. Out there to try and close things out is Cooper Miller. And his second inning of relief work starts off with Lucas Musatelli, who grounded out last time up. At top of the 4th inning, 5 hits, 5 walks, and 9 runs for Locker Room. First pitch here to Lucas Musatelli from Miller, and he takes it right down the heart of the plate for an 0-1 count. Parcombe needs at least 6 runs to continue this game and put this mercy roll out of effect. Fouled back. 0-2. Now on Lucas Musatelli. Cooper Miller settled the rubber, his windup, and he deals his 0-2 pitch. Off speed, just missing there. He thought he got that corner there with that curveball. Nasty curveball that Cooper Miller throws. A ball and 2 strikes here on Parcombe's number 3 hitter. The 1-2 on its way. High bouncer over to the shortstop. Fields it. Going to have to take a strong throw to get him in time, and he does not get him in time. That's an infield single by Lucas Musatelli for his first hit of the ball game. Good effort there by Connor Steer over at short, but that ball was hit pretty deep in the infield. So runner at first here to start off this bottom of the 4th. Now the cleanup hitter, Jack Rowland, flew out to left field last time. Here's Miller's first pitch to him. Inside portion of the plate, strike 1. Checking over at Musatelli at first. Here's Miller's 0-1 release. Off speed. Nice downward movement there by that pitch. 0-2 here on Rowland. Runner at first, and nobody out. And the 0-2. Inside, Rowland getting out of the way of that one. And a 1-2 count. Rowland set in that right-handed batter's box. And the 1-2 on its way here from Miller, right above his head. 2-2, and that allows Lucas Musatelli to advance to second base. Here's Miller's next pitch. Offering. Curveball swung at and missed for strike number 3.
Batting first baseman, number 99, Trey Diarmid.
It's the second strikeout of the day for Cooper Miller on the mound. 2 outs away from sending locker room to the championship. Now Trey Diarmid tries his luck in the right-handed batter's box outside, bounces off the mitt of Mason Steer behind home plate. Into third easily is Lucas Musatelli. Diarmid lined out to the shortstop. Last time we saw him batting in the second inning. Here comes the 1-0. Lined out to right field. Chasing back the right fielder and makes the catch. Nicely done there by Carter Wilmot out in right. For out number 2 here on Parcombe. And now Parcombe is down to their final out. Lucas Musatelli still stranded at third. And Parcombe's season comes down to Dylan Hescox trying to drive in that run and chip away at this deficit to try and put this mercy roll out of effect. The pitch, swinging through that, strike 1. The windup, and Miller's next release here on the 0-1. Fouls it back, and Parcombe is down to its final strike. Oh, 2 count on Dylan Hescox. Here's Miller's windup, And his pitch. Curveball. This is inside. 1-2. Escox grounded out to the first baseman last time. Wind up. And Miller's 1-2. Upstairs, 2-2 even count. Here on Park Home's number 6 hitter. From the chest, the kick. And Miller's 2-2 release to Escox. Swung at for strike 3. His third strikeout of the night. And that's ball game. Locker room is heading to the championship for the opportunity to win their first title in program history, and they've got a date with Holsinger's Plumbing coming up on Friday. 15-1, your final score. So after an 11-1 win last night for Locker Room, they come out here again with just explosiveness off the bats and win at 15-1. Really impressive considering they played such a solid Park Home team that entering this game was 20-6 on the season. His last 2 games just haven't been their night. And Locker Room has proved to be the better team. But great season by Park Home, and all those games they were able to win. And some of the really talented players that they had on display. But the championship is set for the 2024 AABA title match. It'll be Holsinger's Plumbing versus Locker Room this Friday for a 7 p.m. first pitch. And you better believe we'll have coverage for you on that game on the AABA Facebook page and YouTube channel. This is Jake Irwin signing off for the night. Have a wonderful 4th of July, and we'll see you here on Friday.